Yes, good evening, wherever you are in the world, all the way from Ireland, from Canada, from the US, wherever you are in the world, welcome and good evening to another show with our very good friends who are here. We'll introduce them in a minute, but welcome to the show, everyone who's out there. Please share, subscribe, and like this video. We're going to do some real good discussions today about a couple of themes. We'll talk about Fernandinho's replacement. We'll talk about a potential to replace Benjamin Mendy, right? And then we'll talk about
our number 22, as we say.
Our 22, and then we'll talk about UEFA and this new rule. We have some real analysis that we've done, and we'll share that with the group. But let's introduce our guest today, first of all. Veta Games, introduce yourself, bro.
Yeah, like you said, Vader Games. I'm based out in Canada, specifically Toronto. Huge Man City fan. One of few from my circle of friends. So it's always a battle whenever a match is being played or whenever there's the big, quote unquote, the big six playing. So I do my best to rep. And thanks for having me on the show.
Absolutely. And then the reason we talked to him recently on a show. And we found him articulate, clear-minded, and there's a monologue he did recently that I absolutely loved. It was refreshing for me.
Good content. Go check out his channel. Good content. Check out his channel.
What's your handle of Vader Games so everyone can know?
Oh, appreciate it. Yeah, Vader Games TV. Check it out on YouTube. Same on Twitter. And yeah, humble beginnings. So any support, rivals, obviously Man City fans, check it out.
Absolutely. The more the merrier. And again, it's good to have another chocolate brother, doing shows for Man City. When they're not enough of us. We're not discriminating, but it's good to see others like us. And of course, our co-pilot, our first officer, captain, officer, who is also on. Patrick, what's going on, bro?
I'm good, man. A pleasure as always to make a video with you. It's been months, since we started off. So it's good to also meet. I'll be calling him V because I always butcher his name. So good to meet V. And is it Veta, isn't it? Oh, yeah,
Veta.
Yeah. So it's good to meet Veta. And obviously, after he reached out and I saw his channel, I was like, this brother is talking sense here. This guy is speaking facts. I was like, let's get him on. Then it was good that he said, come on. But for me, I'm good as always. Very excited to see your presentation, because after I read it at work, I was like, wow, that's a presentation. But look, people who are watching, trust me, you're about to be blown. Yeah, this guy has come with fire, straight fire from all the way from America.
And to add, that's what has me so excited for this episode too, because I love a different perspective and I love knowledge-based facts. So I might just sit back and soak it all in. So I'm looking forward to it.
Get a pen so we will get pens so we can write down as he's speaking. We'll get your pens. Look, there's a pen already.
Yeah. So everybody out there, please join us. Subscribe. We worked on this presentation all night yesterday, and we talked about it this week. This is kind of what we do. In fact, we have a new theme called Enter the Boardroom with Patrick and Carl. This is kind of stuff we want to be doing going forward. And if Veta, of course, Veta is interested as well, we can also add him to the crew. We started with this kind of presentation format in November last year, where that's why Patrick and I are very calm about Erling Haaland, right? Because everything that's happening around Erling Haaland right now, we are not surprised. We broke this down in November. We talked about the numbers. We talked about the strategy. We talked about what City's going to do. We talked about the timeline. So everything that's happening right
possibilities,
now, I am not in any way phased. I am as cool as a cucumber because we've already projected this. We talked about it in depth in our video about what we call the case for Erling Haaland that we did back in November 2021. Every single thing, including the transfer fee, including the wages, including the comps with Harry Kane, including the cost benefit, everything, including what City have to do to make the case that he cannot refuse. We said make Erling Haaland, make him an offer that he cannot refuse. It's a theme from The Godfather. So we're going to be doing more things like this going forward. So Patrick, let's start with some light discussion around.
Yeah, let's soften up the people before we you know what, before we start, guys, because for the UEFA part, it's going to be juicy, full of knowledge. It's a big presentation. Get yourself a coffee, get yourself a beer. Today is Saturday. Get yourself a beer, get yourself some wine, sit back and relax and enjoy. So we're gonna start off quite light, not very heavy yet. Obviously we've been discussing this on the Man City group. I think Veta, we should add him on the podcast group, maybe, if that's fine, because we've got a few people there. We've been asking, should Man City sign a left back, a natural left back, or do we stick with Cancelo and Zinchenko? So, since V, your guest, I'm going to throw that at you. I just want thoughts from you. Do you think maybe Pep, underneath, for me, this is what I think, underneath, maybe I think he likes midfielders. I think maybe we will never see a natural left back or never see an actual natural left back because he loves midfielders. He said it in his book, Carl, I love midfielders. If I had midfielders in the whole team, I would enjoy it. So what do you think? Do you think there's going to be a natural left back signed this summer, or he's going to continue how he is because it suits his system?
You know what? You never know with Pep. You never know with Pep. I would love a natural left back. I think it's hugely important for our squad to be able to have versatility.
Yeah.
Pep's been able to, and it's often dismissed, but Pep's been able to make adjustments, quote unquote, band-aid fixes based off the squad and injuries. And he's done that obviously for Mendy, who's not available for the actions that he's done. But on top of that, him acquiring Cancelo originally was to be at right back. Like, he was acquired with the whole vision for there to be two players, Walker and Cancelo, to interchange. So true. I don't believe Pep wants Cancelo there as a standard left back, although he's made it work fantastically.
Yeah.
But a true left back would be fantastic to remain on the left foot, to be able to bring those crosses in without having to kind of cut back, which we have to see with Cancelo. I think that would be the dynamic. So I would love a natural left back to be added for the next season.
Yeah, before I go on to Carl and see what Carl's thoughts, I'm just going to put you on the spot here. For the fact that Cancelo is doing so well, don't you think it's so much pressure for someone else to come in? Like, where are we going to find someone else? Because I know if somebody else comes in, knowing City fans, we will just compare to Cancelo. Because Cancelo, surprisingly, every time he plays at the left, he's killing it so much than playing at the right. So where do you think we'll find this left back? Because I've been looking for left backs who are out there, right? It's people like Hakimi, right back. People like Mende, the one from Madrid, Carl. I was amazed to find out that this brother can play left and right and look good too. So where are these left backs? Where do you think we're going to find? Are we going to go for Isbrand, who we saw in one of the FA Cup games? Are we going to promote him? Or where would you think, just personally yourself? Because now with Cancelo, as I repeat, doing it so well at the left, whoever comes in has to impress more than Cancelo, I'm sure.
So, sorry, you're asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you. I'm still on you.
Yeah. Okay. So we obviously see whenever Cancelo's not starting at left back and Zinchenko's been out there, as City fans, we kind of moan because we know the quality that Cancelo has.
Yeah, true.
But in terms of like defensive responsibility, defensive awareness, I'm always on pins and needles with Cancelo when he's driving forward against a team that I know can hurt us on the counter. Yeah. So a left back that may be a little more defensive minded, would put me at ease, and I think fans would also understand. Because let's say we are up 2 goals or 1 goal, 70th, 80th minute in a game. Pep to be able to bring on a defensive-minded left back, to prevent the late equalizer or late winner in some cases would be a good option. And then I have to stress this: Cancelo can be just as deadly and bring something different on the right-hand side of the field as well.
Yeah.
So, and we can't expect Walker to play every game. We can't expect Cancelo to play every game, especially if we're challenging on all fronts next season. We need a break. We need to give those players options to rest as well. So a natural left back, strong left foot has to be added. Has to be added. And I'll wait to see what else you guys have to say before we get to options on who can come in.
Yeah. So Carl, Lucas, speaking on the same issue, you hear what Vias just said. I have been reading a lot of news now, which is interesting, and this is where you also have to know Pep. That's why I'm like, is that what Pep wants going forward? Do you know that there's rumors now that you remember Jan, the Brazilian one, the Brazilian right back who can also play left back? They are thinking of keeping him in the squad so that he debutizes for both fullbacks, or he gives Walker a bit of a break. So I sat there, I was like, are we really going to get a left back? Or Pep is continuing looking for people who are just good, both sides, and say, you know what, let me just get another one. So thinking on that, asking you the same question, do you think we should get a left back, or maybe we should get somebody like Jan and he will just debutize for Walker and Cancelo can flip-flop and maybe Zinchenko still stay?
Yeah, I think to Vader's point, the Vader games, we do need a left back, a natural left back who's a natural left foot on that side. Who that person is going to be is the question. The thing about Cancelo is that what he offers us from that left back position is more than what a left back does, right?
Yeah.
He almost plays as this quasi midfielder, quasi number 10, quasi number 8 when he inverts into the left side and is able to create these passes that left backs can't create. You think about the game we played recently, the FA Cup game we played recently that Mahrez scores on, right? It all starts from that pass that Cancelo makes with the outside of his foot again from that left side where he bends
I saw the way he bends the ball. That was amazing. That was amazing.
And the reason he does that, it's not by accident, because he's done it once, twice, 3, 4, 5 times. I've seen him do it many, many times.
He did the Newcastle game, isn't it, Raheem? Give it to Raheem.
Correct.
The
Raheem goal was from that same angle, that same position, that same outside of the foot bend. And the reason he does that, guys, is because he's learned to compensate, right? To pass the ball using the outside of the right foot, right? Because he can't use the left foot to do that. Are you following me? So he's learned to compensate by learning how to pass the ball in practice using the outside foot to bend that ball like a left footer would on the left side. That's why he does it. So it's, not many left backs can do that, because a left back will swing it in a way in which it kind of bends around, but not the way it kind of curves through players like that from that side. So he's learned to do that. So yes, we do need a left back, but at the same time too, Cancelo offers us so much in that position that it's frightening. There are some games where we need a Zinchenko who's more solid at the back and can kind of defend, which we've seen before. But it's hard to know what Guardiola's going to do. You have Zinchenko, you have Cancelo playing left. Esbrand can drop there as well. We've seen him play that side, but we don't really have cover on the right-hand side. Cancelo can play right, but I think Jan Couto and whoever, and that other boy from Sporting that we have.
What about the kid? Is that on the Sporting, the one who was in the African Cup of Nations and was young player of the tournament? He's a right back and he belongs to us. You know that, right? The young player of the tournament, African Cup of Nations, is a right back and he belongs to City. And you should see this kid. He's fast. I mean, like, this kid is Walker fast. And I remember when we bought him, he was told that he will eventually come in the first team at a point in time. Now, looking at Jan is a Cancelo. He's skilled. He'll dribble past players. He will do these fancy kicks. Now, looking at this kid, I'll get his name later on. He is more of a Walker muscle. He will run after you, get after you, defend, but he also has got a nice foot to cross in. So there's actually options there. But the thing is, we don't have left backs options. They're all right backs. They're all right backs. That's all they are. his
the
brand is
arguments
the
that are
one.
being made for different players, right? We talk about
Mm.
some people talk about Tyreek Mitchell, right, of Crystal Palace. For me, he's more like Wan-Bissaka, right, where defensively he's good, but offensively he's, for me, he's lacking. I don't know if he's going to fit into a Pep system. There are not just many left backs out there you can say who are natural left backs that can do a job for us. So it's going to be hard to find somebody who can do that. I don't know what you think about options that we could go after. Any thoughts on that?
Okay, so here's this is a dream in the sky. I'll be honest with you, and a lot of it is because I would love seeing him play every weekend for us. Canadian, currently over at Bayern.
I know who you're after. He's a dream. Now that if a left back like him lands at City, I will be like, wow. Now that's wow.
Alphonso Davies, man.
That guy's a baller.
I would. It would be amazing to just have a Canadian on the City team, and the skill set, his skill set alone, and the fact that he's so young as well, would be amazing.
Maybe there's hope.
I would love it if the board, if the chairman, those at City are making like the branding decisions, like business plans, and he is the face of Canada football, Canada soccer. He is the face of it. So, man, that's the dream. That's the dream for me.
Yeah,
we have some friends on the comments, Patrick. Let's just welcome them.
Yeah, go ahead. Read the comments.
Big Morgan, thank you for joining us again. You're always here. God bless you, brother. By Tierney from Arsenal. Okay, that's Arsenal fans jump on you. Arsenal fans right now celebrating top four. They think they're gonna get Haaland and Odegaard.
You know what? I love Arsenal fans. I have nothing but love for them with Arteta and everything. And as I said from the beginning, if there's a choice for somebody to be top four, I want Arsenal to take it, because as you guys sometimes you have funny fantasies when it comes to players when you're doing your next season starting next. But I respect the fact that you guys are not as loud as some fans, and sometimes not extreme, because some fans are very extreme, especially Spurs fans. I don't like Spurs anymore these days. Every time they beat Man City, the whole Twitter is full of we won, as if that's the only thing that matters for the whole season. So look, respect to Arsenal fans. And Odegaard scored a very beautiful goal. After Haaland, Odegaard also scored a beautiful goal. I think Odegaard was a mistake for most clubs who did not put hope in him. And Arteta was smart to put hope in that young kid. Very skilled kid.
Patrick, this is the argument I made about Erling Haaland to Real Madrid, right? I mean, Odegaard went to Real Madrid as a wonder kid. They didn't use him properly.
He did, yeah.
Gareth Bale went to Real Madrid as a wonder guy. They didn't use him properly, right? If you don't perform,
he won them. He won them. He scored in most of those Champions League finals with amazing goals.
They hate him right now. You see the
I know they do.
About him. I mean, they literally wrote an article about him that's disgusting, right? A really disgusting article, calling him a parasite. A whole poem about him. Wow. It was terrible. So Erling needs to be careful where he picks. If he's smart, he knows where to come to the blue side of Manchester. But SSV28, thanks for joining us again. Big Morgan, hey guy, how are you? Thanks for joining us again. Martin says, welcome. Says Cancelo on the left nullifies Grealish on the left as he goes forward so much he bypasses Grealish. Yeah, that's a fair argument.
Because you know what? Because they both want to do the same thing. Like they both want to get to the right in terms of like attacking the 18. So I see what you're saying.
Yeah, that's why I prefer on the left when Cancelo's playing on the left, because then you have natural winger with that right footer as well.
Great call.
Let's see. Arsenal wanted to put us out of Europe. Screw them. I'm hearing Arsenal fans right now talking about top four. I think they already have top four. I think they will get it. But they're talking about
let them get it. Let them get it. Just a slight announcement, obviously, on the. I know it's not part of the show, but just something amazing. Eriksson just came off the bench for Denmark, and this is his first international. He's already scored. What an amazing player! What an amazing player.
To see him back. That's great to see.
Yeah, it's good to see him back. Yeah, everybody's very happy for him. Okay, anyway, are you done with the comments?
Yeah. Let's roll.
Yeah. So you said something interesting, Carl. I just caught it there. You said we need somebody to back up Walker instead. Maybe that's the reason why Jan is being called from his loan. because at the long spell, he's doing well. He's been in the team of the month a few times, and the kid is talented. And I know there's no, you know how sometimes you say, oh, there's a lot of people on loan. Some people aren't getting looking. I think that kid will. I think the only reason why he didn't get looking this time is there was no space, but I think he will, and I hope he does, because we do need players like him. Just imagine. What's the comment?
This is my friend Carl, Everton fan. Haaland is coming to Everton. It may be in the championship.
Ouch.
No, Carl, I'm just joking, Carl. We've had this debate about Erling Haaland, and I've said this from November that City need to make him an offer he can't refuse, and if he doesn't choose to come to City, it's his loss, not our loss, because he would.
Look, we'll move on. If he doesn't come to City, we'll have Alvarez. I'm not scared, to be honest, because if we've managed to win the Premier League without him, if we reach you said it yourself, if we reach the Champions League final without a striker or without Haaland, and we beat Haaland going through that way. So Alvarez, I'm looking at that Alvarez kid. Pep can do miracles. And if Alvarez is the best thing out of Argentina right now and playing for the first team already of Argentina, unlike other players we've had where they're playing for the team B, Alvarez is in Argentina and playing for Argentina already. Well, rubbing shoulders with Messi and them. So I'm confident. And I think City learned their lesson last time, because with the Kane thing, they were open. And I've never seen City open like that. They were verbally saying, we want Kane. Remember? They were actually saying, we want him.
We'll talk about this more in the presentation about UEFA, because this morning I was in the shower and I was thinking, why is this happening right now? And I found out two things. You talk about them, and everything kind of clicked in my head. Daniel Levy was one of the issues, and then this guy from US Soccer, Gulati, who was former US Soccer Federation guy, who's now part of UEFA, and it now clicked as to why this thing is happening. And I don't know, should we talk about it now after this one before we go to Fernandinho?
No, we can go to Fernandinho and go to this one. The main course, we can't skip from the starters to the main course, I was about to say, did this click halfway in the shower or at the end of the shower?
It clicked halfway. Actually, it clicked halfway in the shower. I'm thinking about Daniel leaving in the shower. Can you imagine that?
I don't think better. I don't think that goes on when I was thinking about Daniel.
So we have some questions here. So questions.
Yeah,
which year was Man City's best year? Depends. I think it depends. The 17-18 season was great, 100 points, but I think that denying Liverpool in 18-19 with 98 points was even sweeter. Winning 4 titles.
But
was sweeter.
Yeah, we would also say the time when Man United thought they had won, and then Aguero scored that with the Balotelli thing. Because I was in the pub, and I wasn't drinking that time, but I was in the pub. And the man fainted off the chair. A Man United fan fainted off the chair. Women had to take off their clothes, in Africa, and start trying to give him some air. He didn't believe it. He couldn't believe it when Aguero scored. So that can also be an amazing moment, because that's the year when City finally took something away from the guy, from the neighbors who used to call them noisy neighbors. So that can also be an amazing moment. But if you talk about total football, you're right. The 2017 team, oh my God. They used to frustrate teams where, remember Chelsea? Chelsea stopped playing football. They just started walking in the field. They frustrated Arsenal. Do you remember there's a clip of David Silva, De Bruyne passing the ball?
Yes.
I mean, Veta, I know you know what I'm talking about. That clip, that goal, and I've shown it so many times, Veta games, about the 3-0 Arsenal, when they were playing complete, total one-touch football. When Leroy scores the goal without even, with the last touch in the 18-yard box.
Yeah.
That is perfection. Because the movement of the ball was literally one touch from all the way from the back.
Yeah.
And everybody touched the ball. Aguero, De Bruyne, Silva, Sane, Bernardo, except for the goalkeeper, Company. Everybody touched the ball. They tried to press us. They couldn't touch the ball. And we moved the ball quickly through the thirds to the point where the ball was walking into the net. It was a perfect goal.
So
go ahead.
The clip that I saw actually had like a pass counter. It had a pass counter.
Oh yeah. There's a few of them with the counters.
But what I often say about that moment in terms of how I remember it is like what you said, complete football,
Mm-hmm.
total football. I also looked at it as complete trust. Every player passed it to their teammate with the trust that the next pass is going to be coming to me. The next pass is going to be, so they all trusted each other. And I love that moment in terms of what happened on the field. Now, I get conflicted with the greatest moment and the greatest season.
Mm-hmm.
And the greatest moment, I think it's for me, witnessing Aguero and the goal, the assist from Balotelli. Like, I loved it. But setting the standard, setting the mark, setting the mindset to where people, fans and rivals are like 2 losses in a season or 3 losses in a season, and you're giving up a title race. Pep said that with the Centurions. So for me, that was the best in terms of total football of a season for Man City.
Who's missing though? Like why? Just a question for you guys. Who's actually missing? Like what's? Look, I'm not disappointed by now. Obviously, teams have to evolve, and right now we are better defensively. I don't know if I can say that. We are like the time for that total football we're doing that couldn't sustain us in the Champions League. I just feel like that's the thing. I was telling somebody we were not that solid. That when we get attacked with that total football, I think we're not as solid as now, where Pep found a way to cut counters. But what is missing? Like I've been waiting. I was like, with the good defense we have now, did Pep learn that maybe I can't just be passing it like this? If somebody gets it within this part, they can easily attack. So who's missing? Is it David Silva? Because now we're not as slick in the passing, but we're good defensively.
No, I mean, this goes back to Carl's question here, right? The difference now is the 17-18 season was slick in terms of quick transitions. Kevin De Bruyne was dynamic, right? I call Kevin De Bruyne my quarterback. Kevin De Bruyne is the kind of player that he's not a control player. He's more of a transition dynamic player. He's a quarterback who makes those phenomenal passes, right? Think about a quarterback in NFL that throws the ball to catch a ball. Then you have those what they call the running backs who can actually carry the ball, right? We've become more of a running back kind of team, meaning that we're more controlled with the ball. Short passes, the extra pass, as opposed to the dynamic transition. 17-18, dynamic transition, we lose the ball, we get counter-attack, it's a goal. Now we're about control. Short passes, the extra pass, drive up the field, win the ball back quickly, and kill them in the final third. That's the difference between 17-18 and now. And even 18-19, we actually began to see that. In 1920, to Carl's point, the problem was we didn't have a center back. Fernandinho became our center back, and we know what happened. Rodri was too slow. We had Leroy Sané out of form. There were issues around. Actually, Leroy Sané was actually injured that season. So we had Laporte injured, Sané injured, Fernandinho as a center back. It didn't work, and Liverpool were on fire, and so we lost the title. But we're back to where we were before, with more control, more short passing. Once in a while, we transition with De Bruyne, the quarterback, but we're much more control. So overall, I think we're better now. We're more prepared now to win the Champions League than we were in 17-18. That's kind of what I think. We have some more guests here. We have Pajay, who's a Chelsea fan. He's actually waiting for that presentation on UEFA that we will talk about.
Okay, grand, yeah.
But
go ahead.
One last thing I want to say too, with regards to the counterattacking that you were mentioning, Carl. And it hurt. It hurt for Sané to leave, because I loved him and Sterling. Like
it was amazing.
You were checking your mirrors. The opposing team was checking their mirrors every time, because you could not worry about Sané. You could not worry about Sterling, because not only would Kevin De Bruyne find a pass, but Ederson could just bypass the midfield and get that counter going as well. So I think that's a big element of what's missing too. And to Carl's point with regards to now, it is a running back type thing in terms of the ball's traveling more, in terms of like the passes are killing them. And I also feel it's not so much we're missing a striker, but we do miss attacking through the center of the field. I find that we can't put pressure on the back line, on the defensive line of the opposing team through the middle of the field.
No,
I don't think it's necessary. No, I think it's kind of like a philosophy with regards to how how we're doing, because you notice we do go along the wings. And unless it is a counter, that's when you do see De Bruyne shoulder down, running and trying to get a pass off to maybe Grealish or maybe Sterling or Mahrez. But we just don't go through the middle.
Yeah, and the reason why we don't go through the middle is because we don't have a striker. We're playing a false nine system, right? There is nobody who's playing that number 9 position. It's about rotation of the front 5, right? And so you have the inverted guys who come in and out to drag defenders out of space to make sure somebody pops in, right? So against United, for example, you saw Foden dropping into the middle, and the defender will follow him through. When Foden drops to the middle and the defender follows him through, that means somebody else has a hole to occupy, like a Grealish or a Mahrez or a Sterling.
De Bruyne was occupying that a lot, wasn't he?
Exactly. Remember the Liverpool game at Anfield? Remember what we discovered about who the false 9 was? It wasn't De Bruyne. It wasn't Grealish. It wasn't Foden. It was Kyle Walker. Remember, we kept saying Kyle Walker was playing the false 9 role, because every time there was a hole in the middle of the park, Walker was bombing forward to occupy that role. Remember, those can watch it again. Every time that the movement was creating the hole in the middle of the park with Van Dijk, it was Walker that was running through from the right back position to occupy that space, which is how Kevin got the goal, because Walker occupied the center back. Kevin got the ball and scored the goal. But anyway, we're digressing into.
Yeah, let me move fast to this, and then we'll read the comments later on when you're about to. So look, we're just gonna do it fast because we did a video where we also discussed people who can replace Fernandinho. There seems to be a big list. I'm just gonna give you guys one name you can throw in, but for now, all I ask is, V, do you think he has to stay another season? Like, with all due respect, Fernandinho is our captain, and he's the reason why we had 2018, all those times. Because as Fred said, somebody has to carry the piano for someone to play the piano. Fred from Man United. I love Fred. I love him as a player, even though people hate on him. He said somebody has to carry that piano for somebody like De Bruyne, Gundogan, for somebody like Bruno, Pogba to play that piano. Somebody has to carry it. You can't have nobody carrying it. So do you think Fernandinho should stay and still be the backup because he's going to be 37? Or do you think he should just stay as a player coach and just be a coach and be around the team?
I love the service that Fernandinho has given us over the years. As sparingly as he's played this season, I think the evidence is there that he doesn't have the wheels. I don't think the legs are there. Not enough to be a proper backup, you know? So I think the player coach role would be fantastic, because from everything that I've read, his leadership is, you know, it's up there with what company was providing us. So I would hate to miss him that way, but we do need another DM. I think we need someone to properly back Rodri, and again, we know Pep sees everything on that fixture schedule and wants to win everything. And if that's the plan, I think we need someone very close to Rodri's level to be able to back him up.
What name comes up before I move to Carl? What name comes up for you?
That I'd have to do my homework, because I think it's poaching. I think it would actually be poaching from an established club, or even some, not necessarily a rival, but some of the competition that we face in particular. And I'm forgetting his name for Crystal Palace right now, but there's let me get back to you.
Yeah, Grant. What about you, Carl? What do you think? Should the Fernandinho continue staying as a backup, or with Veta, that somebody has to come in, somebody the level of Rodri, to give a bit of competition to Rodri? And
Fernandinho is 37 years old. I mean, you know, he has to take a lesser role, but keep him as a leader within the club itself. But the player that I like to come in is Calvin Phillips from Leeds United. I think his ability to play as a single holding midfielder and Bielsa's 4-1-4-1 system tells me he has the legs, the brain, the energy, and the intelligence to be able to play that role easy. And it gives us an alternative. Rod is more of a pass and move. Phillips is more of an aggressive interceptor, long ball, winning the ball back, energy kind of guy. I would take him. Carl Blundell talks about a guy from Frankfurt called Jakic. I don't know him much, but we'll take a look at him. But those are options that we can look at. Katuto says Basuma from Brighton. Yeah, we talked about him.
Basuma's always been my guy. Very press resistant player.
And his contract expires next year. So
it is. He's not signing. He's been refusing to sign. He wants to play Champions League football.
Yeah. Pajay says if people does not win, should Pep change it next time? I don't think so. Like I said, Champions League, Pajay, is a cup competition. The best team doesn't always win it. I think getting to the final is actually harder than actually winning it, frankly, because you have to go through so many different layers. So he doesn't win it this year. He tries again. As long as he's here, we'll keep waiting. Yeah. It's not a problem. It took Sir Alex Ferguson, 10, 15 years to win it, and he won two in 20 years. So Pep's only been here for 6 years. So
it took Chelsea 8 to 9 years to win it. Yeah. So Chelsea doesn't.
Yeah, it took Chelsea 8 to 9 years to win it. So it's one of those things you just have to enjoy the process, and one day it will come. Yeah.
So do you have more questions, or we can move to the main course?
Yeah, we have. Ade just joined us right now. We can move to the main course.
How you doing? How you doing, Ade?
Hey, can you guys hear me fine?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can actually hear you great today. Is it the headphones?
It must be the headphones, man. I don't know. I have so many issues with my computer right now. I can't even tell you.
Okay, so let's go to the main course. Everybody, this is kind of why we're here. We're going to talk about this UEFA new rule and the impact it's going to have on Premier League clubs and moving forward. So I'm going to share my screen. Please be patient with me. I'm going to present. Patrick, if you don't mind, reading the comments out. And then if anybody has questions,
I want to be able to see the comments. I'm on my phone, and my phone doesn't show the comments.
Maybe either Veta or Ade can read the comments. You can see the comments in the comment section.
I can see the comments.
Okay, great. So I'm going to share my screen now, and then let me know when you can see my screen so that I can present.
Yeah, I can see your screen.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Okay, good. So Patrick and I talked about doing the show.
I'm loving this, by the way. I'm loving this.
Oh, yeah, thank you. That's our friend Alexander Safari and co. Right. So we'll talk about UEFA's 7% cap on expenditure and what this means. So just some general rules, right? So UEFA have introduced this new financial sustainability rules, right, that are set to replace their FFP. Now we know what FFP was brought in to basically protect the cartel clubs, the old clubs, United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Bayern, and the rest, right?
Yeah.
It failed because there are too many loopholes that were there, and so FFP was basically blown away by Man City with the case that we won in CAS about 2 years ago, right? So they have this new rule that they're trying to put in place, and it starts from 2023.
Yeah.
The rule says that, right, clubs cannot spend more than 70% of their revenue on wages and amortization fees, and I'll explain what that means to everybody in very simple language. So you cannot spend more than 70% of your wages, of your income, on wages and amortization fees. So what that means is that if you have $100 or £100, you can only spend 70% every single year on player wages and transfer fees that you have to pay. Right? Recognize that when you say
wait. It's just it's also on the wages you give the players.
Yes.
Wow. I only thought it was for transfers. Oh my God. They've gone extreme, haven't they? Wow.
They've gone. I'll tell you why they've gone extreme. This is all cynical bullshit. From
yeah, keep going. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So you can only spend 70% of your revenue, right? If you make £100 million a year, 70 million can only be spent on wages, player wages, staff wages, and transfer fees, amortization fee, which is when you buy a player for £100 million from, say, Dortmund, right? Over 5 years, you pay them £20 million a year because it's amortized. You spread that cost over 5 years, and you chunk that money out every single year, every month to Dortmund. Kind of like a mortgage. When you buy a house, you have a mortgage payment over 30 or 20 years. You're amortizing that cost, that fee over time, right? So right. City pay, for example, let's say, who did we buy from?
Aston Villa.
We bought Bernardo $70 million from Monaco, 5-year contract. We're going to spread that for something over 5 years. That's what we pay Monaco every single year or every month. Okay, so 70% of your wages cannot be spent more on those two things, right? If you break the rule of the 70%, starting from 2023, right, the punishments are points deduction, right, for UEFA clubs. So this new format of Champions League is going to start next 2024. Points deduction, relegation from UEFA competition. So if you say you qualify for the Champions League, you're going to get relegated to the Europa League. If you qualify for the Europa League, you get relegated to the Conference League. So let's say that City, for example, breaches the 70% rule and they win the Premier League, they will not be able to qualify for the Champions League. They're going to demote them to Europa League, which means less money. Worst case scenario, they're going to fine you and expel you from all competitions based on how much you breach. Right? So this is the new rule that UEFA is planning to put in place starting from the year 2023, which is next year. Right? The ECA, the European Club Association Board, is going to meet on this on the 7th of April to ratify it. Right? Now, understand that this ECA, there are two people who have just joined recently. One of them is this guy called Sunil Gulati, who was a former US soccer president. He was named last year as the chairman of UEFA's revamped financial control panel. He's the guy who screwed up USA's chance of winning or going to the World Cup in 2018. Basically wrecked US soccer. Now he's in UEFA right now. So no surprise this stuff is happening with the whole cut. And then also, Daniel Levy just got appointed onto the board of CA. Now, this is interesting because we'll see in the numbers going forward, Tottenham's wage to income ratio is much like everybody else. So no wonder he's able to put those rules, he supports those rules in place because that basically limits some other clubs, right? One more thing we should notice is that in this calculation of sustainability, there is no debt factored in. It's just income, wages, there's no debt. Because if there was debt factored in, then United, Tottenham, Liverpool, Real Madrid, Barcelona will fail the rules completely from day one. So they've taken away debt from the calculation, which in my opinion is biased. Because think about to get a mortgage, buy a house. They're going to ask you how much you earn, right? How much you spend on your housing expenses. And they're going to ask you how many loans you have. Because all those three things factor into how much you can afford or how you pass the rules to afford a mortgage. In this case, UEFA is saying there's no debt. Remove debt from the equation. Let's just look at wages and income. So just notice that. And Dan Levy is part of the board. Okay? So other things they talked about, the regulation was also require greater scrutiny of sponsorship deals. So they're trying to target clubs like City, like Newcastle, who have wraparound deals like Etihad Airways, like Emirates Palace, who they call them related party deals. They're going to try to look at those deals and make sure that they don't break the rules, right? And then also they've also said, okay, rather than do 70% in 2013, we're going to allow clubs to spend up to 90% and then gradually phase that down to 70% in 3 seasons. One exception, if you go above your limit by 10 million, that's okay, as long as you have a good balance sheet and you haven't broken the regulation before. But 10 million is immaterial. So clearly they said 70% is what they're trying to target, right? And that comes in 2023. So let's look at how this affects the clubs in the Premier League. Before we get started, this is how clubs make their money, right? There's the income side, how much you generate, and then the cost side, how much you spend, right? So you generate money from match day revenue, broadcast revenue, which is basically domestic and global TV in the UK, Sky, NBC in the US, and Sky Sports, Super Sports in Africa, for example. And then also commercial revenue. Commercial revenue being things like, for example, you sell your academy players, you generate money from your sponsors, like naming rights, like Emirates Stadium for Arsenal. That's how you kind of generate that revenue. And more money is actually coming from both broadcast and commercial revenue, and less from match day, which is an argument I always have with my friends in Manchester, that the amount of money generated on match day is significantly less than broadcast or commercial, which is why during the pandemic, the Premier League clubs are basically fine because there are no fans in the stadium, but they still made money from TV rights and commercial. Are you following me, guys?
Yeah.
Right? On the expense side, there are 3 major expenses. There's wages, players' wages, staff wages. There's amortization fees, which is basically when I buy a player from a club, I pay that club a certain amount every single month or every single year, which is called what we call player trading fees. And then there's other expenses like running the building, heat, water, light, and all that kind of stuff. So those are the 2 buckets of how money comes in and how money goes out from clubs. Okay? I'm setting the stage now because we're going to go into some numbers. And I want you to see it very clearly. All right? So here we are. Let's look at all the what I call the top 6 plus 1. The club that's going to get screwed by this new rule, is Newcastle, and I'll explain why. This is numbers as of 2021, right? Newcastle's income was 153 million pounds right here. Okay, they made 153 million pounds. Their wages, just player cost, was 121 million pounds. So already, without factoring in transfer fees, they're already at 79% over UEFA's limit. Right now, UEFA is saying that they cannot spend. They cannot have sponsorship deals. So Saudi Arabia cannot come and say they're going to sponsor Newcastle to increase the revenue because they're going to cut that. Right? By the time you're adding the player amortization costs and all the wages, Newcastle are over 100%, at 100% wages plus amortization fee. So essentially, they are 30% over what UEFA says they can do. So UEFA is basically clamping down on Newcastle, and no matter how much money they have, they cannot spend that money because they have to generate that money from sales, from income. And there's only so much they can do. Right? How much revenue can Newcastle generate to compete with the likes of City and Chelsea and United? From 153 million pounds to what? 437, 570. They can't. Because if they don't generate that money, they can't spend the money on wages, and so they're stuck. Even now, they're still at over about 100% wages plus amortization. Let's check out Chelsea. Chelsea has some serious problems they have to address. Chelsea's income as of December last year was 437 million pounds, and this is even when they won the Champions League. Wages are 334 million pounds. Even with that, they're 76.43% over wages to income ratio. When you add in the amortization fees, they're at 111%, 41% over UEFA's threshold. And last year, they made a loss of 169 million pounds. Their net debt, so Chelsea's debt is 1.38 billion pounds of debt. So now imagine if they actually factored in the debt plus all the amortization fees, they're essentially in a very, very difficult place, which is why this whole sale is taking a long time and they had issues. So Chelsea have to solve this wage to income issue over the next 3 years, or else with this new rule, they won't be able to even play in the Champions League or even the Europa League if they don't solve this issue. Likewise, Newcastle, if they ever even get to top 4, they'll have to reduce their wages to amortization issue before they can even get to play in the Champions League.
Can I play devil's advocate here? Sure. So what about in terms of us? Are these rumors true that obviously I've never looked into it that much, that some of the sponsors we have, right? Some of our owners they have shares in them. So how true is that? And will that affect us then when it's more scrutinized, or this was already bypassed during the whole issue with
I mean, let's be clear. So Sheikh Mansour owns the club, right? But Sheikh Mansour doesn't have ownership in Etihad, Emirates Palace, etc., right? But because his family owns those things, they're saying, oh, it's third-party related, i.e., because your brother owns Emirates Palace, your brother owns Etihad, therefore you have we have a third-party interest in the sponsorship. Even though when they went to court, the court said that, no, that's not the case. These are independent businesses that sponsor the club. So what City are doing right now is diversifying their pool of commercials away from Emirates Palace, away from Etihad, and bringing in things like the water guys, the guys from China, the guys from the US, all those things. You see all those kind of sponsors that you see happening more. They're trying to diversify away from that to diversify the commercial income. Are you following me?
Oh, is that why? Like the one we have on our sleeve, is it Nissan or Nissan?
Nissan Tires, for example, is another sponsor. You have the bed company also sponsoring. There's this water company that also sponsors us as well. There's the whole China high tech or China something on the Etihad grass that also sponsors. You see that they're beginning to diversify their income streams away from Etihad and from Emirates Palace and all those kind of things to diversify.
Because they won't leave that. They're not going to forget that. They won't leave that. That's what they're coming after. That's one of the things they're coming after. Yeah.
Exactly. So if we look at Arsenal, for example, and I had this discussion with Arsenal fan yesterday. Arsenal's wages to income, just wages, player wages to income, is at 68%, which is healthy. But if you throw in the amortization fees, the money they pay for transfers every single month, every single year, it bump up to 84%, which is 14% over UEFA's threshold, which is that they also have to be careful in what they spend on over the next couple of years to comply with UEFA's rule. Are you following me right now?
Yeah, yeah, man.
Right, and they have $100 million pounds in debt, and they made a loss of 54 million. Right, City have made a small profit, right, of 5 million. We're still above the threshold for UEFA. We're at 79%. So we're 9% over. We also have to be careful. Either we have to be careful in how we manage our wages, how much income we get in order to meet UEFA's threshold. Tottenham are right now are basically the ones who are enjoying, because look at Tottenham. Tottenham has a wage income ratio of 56% because they don't play their players much, right? They plus the amortization fees, they're at 75%, which means that they're only 5% above UEFA's threshold. No wonder Daniel Levy is on the board and it's forcing this to happen. They made a loss of 80 million, but their debt is 700 million pounds.
Which was removed purposely, that no debts included in this.
Right, which was removed purposely because no debt has been calculated in the sustainability rules. Because if they include debt, nobody passes. United don't pass, Chelsea don't pass, Liverpool don't pass, City barely pass, Newcastle don't pass, Tottenham completely fail, and then United also as well. So they removed that piece and made it only wages and income, because the new clubs who don't have too much debt, that's what they use as a way to kind of make money on, pass the rule. If you throw in Barcelona in this equation, Barcelona's debt is what, 2.something billion? They are screwed completely, Real Madrid. So they excluded all the debt. I just said, okay, how much money do you make? How much you spend on wages? Let's try to cap that at 70%. So the new clubs have to generate more income, right, outside of what they normally do right now, or reduce their wages and be limited in how much they spend on players' salaries. Are you guys following me?
Yeah, before you go on, do you want to check the comments and see if people are also following you?
Yeah.
Or do they have any questions towards you?
Anybody in the comments following us? Adi? Any questions?
Yeah, it wasn't related to this though.
Okay.
It was okay, so Katuta Eto says, "Ish, I am lost with this UEFA thing. My man Carl, please get back to Hotline update."
You lost them, Carl. You've lost them.
You lost it. I mean, a lot of people are gonna. It's too many numbers. I mean, so if you want to simplify,
let's simplify. Let me simplify.
Yeah, just simplify it.
I have a quick.
This should be simple for you guys to see, right? Very simple. Okay.
V has a question. V says he has a question.
So don't answer it if you're going to answer it later. But I'm seeing this implementation, and I don't see it helping club sustainability if it doesn't include debt. Am I wrong in that perception?
No, that's why they removed debt, because they know it's not sustainable. Are you following me, V?
Okay.
They know they cannot include debt, because they include debt in the equation, it blows everybody away. So they just parked that one away and made it about income and wages and amortization. But because they include debt, everybody's broke.
But the future of clubs, the future of the sport, if they don't include debt, how is this helpful? I only see this as preventing competition.
That is correct, V. You are getting the whole point. That if they truly want to make it sustainable, they have to include debt. But because this is about preventing competition, because of pressure from the legacy clubs, this is what they're doing basically. So Newcastle, for example, V, even Newcastle has, it's backed by PIF, which owns, 600 billion pounds in assets and cash. They can't do shit. They can't invest not even a kobo outside of what they generate as income based on this new rule, because they'll fail this new rule. Are you following me?
Good. Yeah.
That's exactly what's going on. And they want to force City and PSG to minimize how much they spend on wages and salaries and make sure they comply with, the standard. So all that data I just showed you, this is a simple chart. So the brown little lobs are basically how much money each club spends on wages and transfer fees every single year. So Arsenal spends, Arsenal's wages and amortization percentage is 84%, right? Chelsea's 111%, right? The blue line is UEFA is saying you cannot exceed. So already you can see that Chelsea, Arsenal, Newcastle are way over that blue line. They have to come below the blue line to be compliant with UEFA's new rule. Are you following me now? Right? So
well, the way I see this, sorry, Carl. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
The way I see this, though, it affects everyone. So I mean, I don't understand what's the big deal.
If it affects
everybody, what's the big deal?
That's the rule they put in place.
Yeah. So how is this? I mean, if you think, okay, so if we're comparing this to FFP, right? FFP was basically, so under FFP, my assumption is that you can spend any amount you wanted on wages.
No, you have to comply with a certain rule around.
There's an echo somewhere. Somebody's echoing because maybe you're watching the live while you're here.
Yeah, there's an echo.
Oh, it's probably me because I took my headphones off.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get my headphones back on. But all right, let me. All right, somebody else asked a question. Let me go get another headset.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So Patrick, look at this chart right here. See, Arsenal, it's 4% over wages to income, right? They should be at 70%. They have to drop. Chelsea at 11, they have to drop to 70. So they have to drop 41% wages to amortization in order to be compliant. That's half of what they're doing right now, right? On the wage side, right? This is on the wage side, right? Liverpool are 9% over. They have to drop 9%. City are 9% over. They have to drop 9%. United are 7%. Newcastle 100%. Newcastle 30%, and then Tottenham are just 5%. So Tottenham are the ones who are the healthiest of everybody and are able to comply with UEFA's new rule, right? So this is from the wages angle, right? This is basically profit and loss for each of the clubs. So in terms of losses, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool, United, Newcastle, Tottenham made a loss last year. Only City made a 5 million pound profit. And then the debt, that's the debt as well. If you add the debt, it blows everybody away, right? So what can clubs do, right? What can clubs do? This is where I think the argument for the Super League comes into play, because it's unsustainable. Okay, so from the income side, what can clubs do? UEFA has to increase the revenues that they give to these clubs, right, to make sure that they can comply with them. So they have to rebrand their whole broadcast revenue rights. Both the UEFA and Premier League have to do that in order to generate more money to pay these clubs, negotiate better TV broadcast revenue from UEFA, from the Premier League. In fact, right now, I think the US broadcast revenue went from 1 billion about 2-something billion. So there's already an increase in that next year. So we're going to benefit from that influx of cash, right? If UEFA don't renegotiate those TV rights and get more money, this cannot work. It will not happen, right? Clubs can also increase their commercial non-broadcast revenues by looking for innovative marketing and sponsorship deals, figure out a way to use leverage digital and other entertainment options. You see Spurs and Daniel Levy doing the NFL thing with the NFL to bring NFL games to the stadium. That also generates revenue. We know City is doing this thing with entertainment with what's that? Sky. What's that? Sky. That investor. Sky. What's it called again? I can't remember the name. Looking for ways to generate more revenue, right? The other angle is to increase match day revenue. Ticket prices may have to go up. So local fans will be happy with that, right? Because in order to generate more revenue to comply with UEFA, money must come from somewhere, or wages have to go down, which is higher ticket prices or more seats in stadiums. We've heard about increasing more seats and more standing, more attendance, and then wrapping around other activities around attendance at the stadium, right? Or you have to sell players, or you have to use more academy products in the first team to generate more revenue, right? We know that Chelsea's Academy and City Academy sell these players to generate revenue. That has to happen. Or the worst case scenario, let's just say, screw UEFA, we're going to go to the ESL, we generate 10 times more revenues, and UEFA can basically F off, and we'll control our own destiny, our own TV rights. That's on the income side. On the expense side, right, either we reduce the player transfer fees, renegotiate player contracts, make it more of a performance bonus and incentive where you play, your base salary is low, but you get performance bonuses based on performance, right? Reduce agent signing fees, player agent fees, right? And also minimize the implement FIFA's 10% agent fee, which is coming up right now. These are the solutions, because if they don't do these things, there's no way we can comply with this, Patrick. There's just no way. So April 7th is the day that UEFA is going to basically agree or not agree to do this new rule going forward.
So I mean,
go ahead, Adam.
Sorry, I'm back. I sound better now, right?
Yeah, you're better, way better and clear.
I feel like it affects everyone. So if they get to the meeting that they have, whatever date they have it, and they look at the numbers and they say, hey, under this new rule, we either start to cut player wages dramatically or we can't do this. So I think this solution, but I really feel like in the long term, you probably need something like this because you don't want to go back to a scenario where players like Messi or Ronaldo are making like 800,000. I mean, the numbers we're hearing with Holland is 600,000. I mean, it's getting
Mbappe.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I understand where it's coming from. It's like, look, at some point, if you're paying players 500,000 K, there are only a handful of teams that can afford them. So we're basically creating a monopoly, which we have to stop. So that's what they're trying to do. You have to have a cap, a salary cap. You have it, like you said, the one of the leaders associated with this is from the US. So I get where it's coming from. It's a salary cap on you. I think the way they can do it is you can put a salary cap on the team. And if you want to pay your superstar $800 million, you do that, but that means you have to pay the other guys $2 million. So that's a possibility. You can do that, and that's up to you. That just means your team will be in balance. Or you can say, let me take a level approach to this and pay everybody. Yeah, the superstar will get more money, but not dramatically more than the other guy. So it's a little bit of a fight for the guy that's not the superstar in the team. So I get it, but it affects everyone. So I wouldn't worry about it if I'm a City fan.
The funny thing about this is City's actually doing that already. And Patrick, we talked about it, right? Because if you look at City's wage structure, right? You have De Bruyne on 400K. How much is Zinchenko on? 20K. How much is Diaz on?
Diaz 100. It was improved. Remember, they made him sign an improvement. Man, I think he's on 150. Right? He's on 150. Like that, right?
How much is Foden on? How much is Foden on? Wasn't that 12K or something ridiculous?
No, he's not on 12. Is he? I don't think so.
He has moved up.
He's on 40. He's on 40. He's on 40, I think so.
Yeah, so even Foden, his wages are gonna go up. He's one of the superstars on the team now. So eventually, and then we're talking about Holland. Holland's gonna get like over 500K, a week. So yes, all of this stuff matters, but I just feel like if it affects everyone, I'm not worried about this, man. This is water under the bridge.
It's not a worry. It's just interesting that if you think about, the Chelsea, for example, right, at, who are 41% over, they have to reduce it by 40%.
They're gonna have to do something. They're gonna have to do something.
That's the issue, right? Later.
Sorry, Carl.
Go ahead, man.
Can you go to the previous slide?
This one?
And so that column with regards to income, right?
Yeah.
I think. And again, we're in a good position. We've seen how City manages the books. But where this impacts future clubs is if they don't have that flexibility. You look at Newcastle that currently only has 153 million. And that will grow because, or you hope that will grow because of outside interest wanting to be associated with the brand that may increase that number.
Yeah.
But the problem is the turnaround for them to be competitive isn't there. I think this actually benefits the quote unquote grandfathered or legacy clubs.
But
I'm not a proponent. I'm not a fan of that. Because this was City not too long ago.
Yeah. Okay. So I hope I'm saying your name right. Vato?
Vader.
I get what you're saying, but the FFP was designed to do exactly what you're saying. They are just saying FFP is not designed well enough, so we need to design something else. The plan for FFP was, if I'm a billionaire and I own a legendary club like Liverpool, United, Barcelona, or Juventus, I don't want some new billionaire getting Burnley and start challenging me. That's just we're talking business now. I don't want those guys. So I get what you're saying, but you got to understand these guys are businessmen. I don't want some little guy owning Norwich coming up challenging me, spending a whole bunch of money, kind of like what City and Chelsea did. I don't want that. So what I'm going to do is I am going to create a rule that that guy will never rise to the level I'm at now.
Yeah,
And
to
that's
sit on the
what they've
same
been
table. Yeah.
trying to do. That's what they've been trying to do for years, but they just have never been successful. And it seems like what they're now saying is if you're a new guy coming in, you cannot, you have to generate the money you're going to use to pay your guys, and your cap is 70%. That's what they're saying. So it's
Yep.
impossible for a Leicester to ever win a Premier League again. They don't want that scenario happening. And
Correct.
I get what they're doing as businessmen. As fans, we don't like it because we like competition. But these guys are businessmen. They're just protecting their interests. Like you said, the grandfather clubs, the Liverpools, the United, the
Yeah.
Barcelonas, the Juventus, whatever. They're just protecting their interests. So there's really nothing much you can do about that.
You know, the funny
I
thing
think
about
it's
these
a
numbers,
terrible.
right?
Mhm.
These are very good.
I was
The
just
funny
going to
thing
say, I
about
think. Oh yeah, you go. No, you go.
yeah, the funny thing about these numbers, right? These income numbers are from 2021, and we know we didn't have any fans in the stadium in 2021. So the match day revenue was immaterial to these numbers here. When you factor in match day revenue, it probably is going to jump up by another 50 to 60, 70 million or so, which now means that a club like Tottenham now have more room to spend on wages because now their revenues are up. Because when they got the new stadium, they didn't have fans in the stadium.
Yeah.
So now Newcastle is even harder for Newcastle to compete or Burnley to compete with this club because now they have no match their revenue. So they have that limit now. Basically, the ratio now drops, so they have more money to spend. It's all just, again, at this point, it's about big boy politics. And saying,
That's all it
hey,
is. We as City fans are lucky because we got in the door before they shut the door. So
right.
we're in the big house
They're trying to
already.
get us. They're trying to get us out with the
No,
podcast. You know?
they're trying to get anybody else coming through the door. The Newcastle and whoever might be coming, they're trying to shut those people out. That's what they're doing. Chelsea City got in front and PSG got in the door and they were like, okay, hold up, guys. We got to close this door because this isn't working. We like the money we've been making. We like the structure. We don't want new guys coming into the club. That's what they're doing.
I would also argue. Sorry, Carl. I was going to say I would also argue that it's even not so much the impact that's happening with regards to English clubs, but I think the Barças, the Reals, the Juventus, AC Milans, like they're the ones that are like, we need to shut this down.
Yes, because AC Milan is a legendary club, like you're talking about. The AC Milan, these guys are legendary, and they've not been able to win nothing. So they're like, come on, we're tired of this. Because those clubs, get this, those clubs can make revenue off their name, like AC Milan, Juventus, the jersey, the sales, the prestige. So they're like, oh, okay, if we can make money off our name, let's just prevent the other guys because, like, who's gonna go buy like City is good club and they're getting better now, but they weren't as well known where somebody's gonna go buy Sergio Aguero jersey, but you go buy a Ronaldo, you go buy a
international
Messi,
fans,
you know what I'm saying, international fans. So those guys are trying to come back, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, you guys are absolutely right. This is what's going on. I mean, Barca's and Real Madrid's and co know that the Premier League broadcast rights is significantly more than what they have, and so how do we shut this down? Well, let's put a cap on everything, right?
Yeah.
And but the problem is that your Leicester's, Aston Villa, you know, it ain't going nowhere. It's just not, I love Aston Villa fans, but Newcastle, it's just no way.
Yeah.
It's just no way. I don't care if you're MBS himself. You cannot pump money in the club because they're going to kill you with the wage cap, which means that you're going to have to grow it somehow over 10 or 15 years. Get to that level. Meanwhile, all those other guys are actually even making more money and growing bigger and bigger and bigger.
It's actually unfair though, because teams like Villa have got new owners with money, and Villa has ambition now. I'm pretty sure them seeing West Ham going to Europa and slapping Sevilla is also scared them. They're like, oh, this Premier League is going up because West Ham has got good money too. So you're right. If they don't shut this door now, I'm pretty sure it would have been seen West Ham in the Champions League or West Ham winning the Europa. You know what I mean? Teams like that. So I think they are scared. They're like, well, you know what? Let's do it based on names. As I say that people like AC Milan, people like Inter, regardless where they are, they can still sell a jersey based on the name in a name or in a country where you don't even know, in some city where nobody even knows. So I get where they're coming from, and they're scared. I think this also, the big blame is on the Premier League, because I hear we get so much cheddar even for a team that's mid-table more than a team that's finishing high table in Italy. So
Yeah, but Patrick,
anyway,
that's based on the power of the EPL. The EPL
yeah,
is one of the most watched leagues in the world, so they should demand even the bottom players in the EPL should demand more TV revenue because a lot of people watch the Premier League. I mean, I don't know what the number was, but the deal they got with, was it NBC or who what
Yeah,
it's
2.5 billion.
ridiculous. It's
2.5
ridiculous.
billion.
So I mean, they know the Premier League is coming, and all these old Spanish clubs are just not happy. And that's
yeah,
what it
but
is.
it's also the on for these Spanish and Italian clubs, because when they were busy just concentrating on Europe, they were concentrating on South America. The Premier League was going everywhere. China,
Yep.
Premier League was
Yeah.
going to Africa. Like I
Yeah.
used to only see the Premier League in Africa. It's only late when I started finding out that there's teams
Yep.
like Juventus, teams like AC Milan, them only because of the Champions League games that were being shown. But they were
Correct.
hiding their league. They were keeping their league to themselves and the
Correct.
European countries and certain countries. That's the reason why
Absolutely.
you see Brazilian players are so obsessed with playing in Spain. Because
Yeah.
if you talk to Brazilian friends of mine, all they saw was AC Milan, all they saw was Madrid,
Mm-hmm.
Barcelona.
Mm-hmm.
That's the dream. But the Prem decided to go places that some of these leagues couldn't go. So
Absolutely.
it's investment. But anyway, it's just
Absolutely.
greed. I'm actually thinking now that teams like West Ham have scared them, I think. So teams like Leicester are scaring them because
Yeah.
let's be honest, I can put Leicester in that La Liga. No offense to La Liga. Leicester can finish high in La Liga. West Ham
Yeah.
can give trouble to people
Yeah.
in La Liga. So
Yeah.
anyway,
This
You're right.
this UEFA 70% cap, I see it as survival, not so much sustainability. So I think we saw that their attempt with regards to the Super League. Look at the number of teams from England that dominated that initial launch,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So this is a cap against English Premier League teams for the survival of all the other clubs.
Yes.
And the fact that it doesn't include debt
Yep.
is like, it's so transparent that this has
Yeah.
nothing to do with
Exactly.
sustainability.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because
if you
all
think-
those guys carry a lot of debt. All those
they
super
man,
super
they carry
teams carry a lot
I
of debt.
mean, at the end, they again. Check out the right column. Net debt in millions. Okay. Look at our friends in blue. Right?
Wait, our own is
$1.3
$5? What's that? Oh, 5 million. Oh, I was scared. I was like $5.
Our profit is 5 million, but the debt, look at the right side. The right side.
Wait
1.3
a minute. Is that club who doesn't buy? Who is the net spend champion? How is the net spend champion doing?
They made a loss of 10 million.
Oh
Yeah.
wow! With all that net spend, okay.
Yeah, they made a loss of 10 million. But
Well,
It's all good.
I was talking
All
to
right.
I was talking to my friends who are Chelsea fans, and I've been saying this for months, right? That they have a serious issue that they need to resolve as a club and as fans, because I mean, you have a 40% overage over UEFA's cap. That's no wonder they can't sign Rudiger. No wonder they have to go get Thiago Silva on a free, because they can't do it. They can't do the deal. They can't. Lukaku was a colossal mistake. They should never have gotten the guy for 100 million. It was a colossal mistake, because not only are you going to pay him the wages, you also keep paying Inter Milan their amortization fee every single month for the next 5 years.
Okay.
Right.
Hey, let me
Then you
read
have
some.
a debt.
We're getting a
Okay.
lot of comments. Let me read some comments.
Yeah,
here.
go ahead with the comments.
So, I'm just gonna start from the last one I remember. These EPL clubs don't really need UEFA to make money. They can decline a salary cap and keep football domestic if a salary cap was
Amen. That's facts.
Okay. Someone says Ade is right. Another one says Real Madrid, Barca, Juventus, and AC Milan are doing a preseason tournament in this summer. Shades of ESL.
Serious.
Yeah.
So they're doing the preseason together. Wow.
And just to that point, right? When this ESL thing came along last year, right? I knew it was not about fan. It was about money.
Yeah.
These guys have sat in the boardrooms and done this same analysis and said, we can't survive. We cannot survive with this current crappy UEFA deal, Champions League deal, where they give us 150 million for winning the Champions League, when I can make that in the Premier League easy. Why would I have to play I can market my own self, have my own team rights, and make 10 times that. The ESL said, that just for you to join the ESL alone, just joining alone, guys, each club gets 300 million pounds just to join. Not to talk about TV rights of how much you spend just to join, 300 million.
Yeah, the ESL was just poorly implemented. I mean,
poorly implemented.
It's hard. Like, billionaires can't. When you pitch an idea like that, and it's billionaires against the commoners, the common folks like us, it doesn't work. I mean, so it's bad implementation.
Yeah.
6 clubs or 7 clubs have their own separate league and just do what they want.
And you don't have to qualify. And you don't have to qualify. You just get in.
Yeah, it just looked bad. But I understand the idea. It just looked bad.
So in summary, just to wrap it up real quick,
Vader wanted to
No, I'm good. I can hold the point. I'm good.
Okay.
Are the comments done?
I think they're almost done. Okay, they said we got Burnley next, and Man City have to win, get the 3 points. You're absolutely right, Ryan. Without the top 6 of the EPL, the Super League does not work. That's true.
I agree. Just kind of wrap this up. I hope you guys have enjoyed this breakdown. We really worked on it a lot. What can clubs do? Increase your revenue, decrease your expenses. Something has to give, because Chelsea cannot be at this threshold. You just cannot afford not to be in European competition, because that's what will happen based on what UEFA is saying. We also have to be careful in how we manage our wages and our income to make sure that,
especially with Haaland coming.
Right.
Well,
tells me, Patrick, that we're going to lose players.
Don't jinx it. Don't jinx it.
If Haaland comes,
thank you. If Haaland comes, don't jinx it, Patrick. Please don't jinx it.
Touch wood. So this is basically what we're talking about, guys. Either we increase our revenues by having more TV rights, by having more commercials, more match day revenues, more player sales from the academy, or just bing off UEFA and go and do the ESL, or we reduce our contracts, wages, and amortization fees over time. Already, FIFA said that July agents fee is going to be capped at 10%, which is why Mino is trying to get this deal with Haaland done before that time.
Wait a minute, is that why he's rushing? Because very soon
that's why he's rushing. That's why he's rushing. Because July 1st is capped at 10%. So if the transfer fee is £64 million, you only get £6 million as opposed to 30 or 40 million.
Oh, I see. So okay, that makes sense. Why I was wondering why he's rushing that. Why they saying by the end of April the things have to be closed? I was like, why?
That's why
there's so much time. Oh, okay.
That's why.
And along the same lines, this UEFA cap is to be implemented when? For what season?
It starts in 2023, next year. They said start at 90% and then drop down. So right now, City have room, right? Because we're at 79%. We still have room. But over time, over 3 years, drop down to 70%. But you can keep the 90%.
Okay.
So Chelsea, for example, Chelsea have to drop down next year, right? 11% down to 90% from 111 right now. Which is they have to figure out what they're going to do in terms of player salaries and wages and all that kind of stuff. It's a serious problem.
And it's making a lot of sense too with what we're seeing trend-wise with players letting their contracts run out.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, right.
Exactly.
You're right about that.
Because
I've been wondering about that.
When players let the contract run out, what happens is that there's no transfer fee, which means there's no amortization cost. You follow me? So that goes off the table. So that's one leg of cost that's eliminated. So Barcelona players on free, they're not paying transfer fees, so those amortization costs go away.
Oh, Kessie and them who have let their contracts run out. So they knew all this is coming, these clubs.
Exactly. Look at Arsenal letting Aubameyang go on a free because why? Because the wages are off the table, which reduces their wage bill as well and reduces that percentage.
Okay.
So you're seeing all these things happen because of all these rules are happening.
Big Morgan says, who can afford Haaland or Hotland? But he says Haaland. A handful of clubs can afford him based on his current wages. Probably PSG and City that can really afford him. So those are the Real Madrid can't really afford him if they get Mbappe. So it all depends.
Mbappe is looking for 600 a week, and Haaland will go to Madrid because they say all he wants, as the media says, all he wants is a project and he loves Madrid. So is he willing to go there and play second fiddle to Mbappe and say, I'm going to get less than Mbappe?
The only thing you have to think about that is Mino Raiola wants money. So Real Madrid don't have money to give him. These are Liga clubs and Serie A clubs ate up the whole league's financial, and now they are wondering why they are in the dumps. That's the last comment.
So I did Veto and Patrick, what did Laporte of Barcelona say yesterday about not able to get Haaland?
He said that he won't break the structure or what
what
the
year?
And
what
the
year
repairs
did he
they're
say?
doing.
What year did he say? What year did he mention?
What do you mean?
Was it 2023?
Yes.
Oh, are you talking about his comments where when he was asked about Haaland, he says we're not going to sign players that are going to break the structure?
Yes. It said because in 2023, it's 2023, we cannot sign a player who's going to break our structure starting from 2023. That's what he said. Again, going back to UEFA's new rule about 70% starting 2023.
Somebody says.
So there's no way Real Madrid do Mbappe.
What comment is that, Ade?
Big Morgan says sell Grealish.
Oh wow, that's harsh. That's harsh.
Bro, that's harsh. That's harsh, bro. I'm sorry. That was funny.
It is funny though, because you know why some City fans are saying that. That's because Grealish is on 300,000, and people were surprised when they saw that. So right now, trust me, going forward, whenever we can't afford a player, people just point at Grealish in the meantime, which is unfair though.
Yeah.
But we did give him so much money. Jesus, I didn't know we offered so much money. 300. We gave him 300. Wow.
Yeah, we did. Give him a lot.
Well, he satisfies a few things, right? Because he's English, and there's the English quota. I think he's going to be transitioned year 2 under Pep. I think he's going to be more of a central player. So it's going to work itself out. But yeah, I think that's the English tax for.
I agree with Vader. Bernardo was not good for the first 2 years. I don't think people remember that. People don't remember that. Bernardo was not good first 2 years. So let's chill on the Grealish thing for a little bit.
So yeah, well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this show and the discussions around this new UEFA rule. City are fine. I think fans need to. We all as fans need to enjoy the way our club is run. Not only are we winning on the field, we're also winning off the field. You saw the numbers, the profit margin. You saw the wages, the income. For the very first time in ever, we are the number one highest earning revenue earner in the Premier League. Now, granted, because United didn't have match day revenue, that's why it skewed that a bit. Next year, United probably going to bump up again because they have match day revenue. But the club is still healthy. Yeah. So we need to enjoy that and revel in it as well. And yeah, it's just fascinating, this whole rules and how it's going to change things. I'm excited about the future. But yeah, Patrick, over to you. Vito and I.
For me, I just want to see the comments and we can close,
Yeah, we have some questions here. So SSB20 said, do you guys think clubs will focus more? Yes, they will in the future. I think they will focus more on the academy for 2 reasons. Number one, right, to sell players to generate income. And number two, to help lower the wage structure in the club.
Because academy players, you can pay them like 10 grand a week, and some of these kids don't care. Like for instance, let's say just as an example, we were talking about left backs, Ade, and we were saying, do we need a natural left back? I'll let you talk for just a few minutes because you came late. But imagine like Brand, he makes it into the City team. Do you think he's gonna ask for much? I think he would even take 10 grand or 5 grand a week. I think he wouldn't care as long as he's made it, because most of these kids, guys, they never end up in big teams, or their career never ends up that good. You know that, right? It's a very tough game being an academy kid. So I think very soon we will see a lot of academy kids. I think that's why, maybe that's the reason why we're seeing Markety being signed an extension. Brand being signed an extension. Lavia, all these kids, Mbete, all these kids are getting an extension. Maybe City are preparing for things like this.
Exactly. The puzzle is all coming together in your mind, because now you're seeing that, there's a reason why that's driving all these weird things, because they have to lean on the academy. They have to generate money, Yeah. Sorry, Adi, go ahead.
No, I was just saying what you were saying. I mean, all these academy guys, a lot of people are not going to like them, but most of them are just going to be sold to some other team. They're never going to play in City. Like all these guys, as well as we like Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer might be the one that makes it onto the team, but a lot of them are gonna go to Europe, and it's just money, just to generate.
I'm vouching for Markety myself. Markety, I think there's talent. Did you see what he did in the England under-21? He went through 5 players. Obviously, he missed because the defender took it off the line, but he went through 5 players Like just that, like how Messi used to do, just easy like that, without breaking a sweat. That kid is talented.
I personally
Anyway.
like
That's my
Cole.
point.
I personally
Great
like Cole
comment.
Palmer the best. How will these new rules help the football pyramid with the trickle down effect?
That's a great comment.
Yeah, so I mean, hypothetically, this could create a problem for clubs down the pyramid, because how much money can they, unless you go with debt, how much money can they really? Because right now most of them are broke. Most of them are way over their income. They're spending much more, which means that they won't. I mean, they can't. They won't qualify for the Champions League anyway, so it's irrelevant to them. Right? This is a European competition specific rule. It doesn't apply to the Premier League or the EFL as a whole. Now, if the EFL and the Premier League adopt it, then that's another question. But right now,
I don't think they will. I don't think they will.
Yeah, I don't think it'll affect them much.
I don't think they will. I think they wouldn't like that, because it'll just cause trouble here.
Yeah, it will cause massive problems in the EFL, League One, League Two, because they'll just go broke. But I don't think they'll adopt. I think it's specific to European competitions. What I find funny is imagine if a club qualify for the Champions League by winning the Premier League, and because they're over their limit, they get demoted to Europe. All of a sudden, they're over their threshold, they get demoted to Conference League, and it's crazy. But anyway,
it's wild.
So Patrick, you want to wrap it up for us real quick?
Yeah, very guys in the comments, very good interaction and very good questions, and Adi, very good reading. You've been picking the juicy comments.
Yeah. I love these comments.
Yeah. So look, Veta, Ade, and Carl, always a pleasure to be with you guys and do these shows. Hopefully, we do the Burnley show together, and obviously a few of the matches that after Burnley, it's at Atletico, isn't it? Or it's Liverpool.
It's at Liverpool.
Yeah. Hopefully, we do most of the previews of the last games, because right now it's crunch time. So these are the times for people to predict how we're going to do. And guys in the comments, I know you've been telling me in the DMs on Twitter that where am I when we after games? I'm mostly at work, but I'll try my best to drag Carl, Ade, and maybe Veta sometimes for us to do the after game shows. And maybe another DM that I've been receiving, Carl. I don't know how you're going to receive this, Carl. Carl, people are asking that, how come we never do watch-alongs ever?
It's too stressful, man. You don't want to see me.
You know what, Adi? I would like to see Carl in a watch along. Oh my god!
No, you don't. No, you don't. Unless we're winning comfortably, you don't want to see it.
I'd like to see Carl.
Too many curse words, man.
Anyway, guys, we'll see maybe in the future. But anyway, Veta, do you want to just tell people where they can find you?
Yeah. You can find me on YouTube, Vader Games TV. You can find me on Twitter, Vader Games.
Can we put that up? Because I want to write that down. It's the first time I enjoyed the conversation with you today, man.
Do you want to just send? I'll send you the links to everything.
All right, yeah, send us that.
I'll send you the links to everything. Yeah, you should see his videos he does.
Awesome.
He's short 3-minute videos on City and other clubs. Amazing.
Nice. I want to see that.
You're too kind.
Yeah. So go ahead,
man. Check me out. That's where you can check me out. I'm also you can also find the same Vader Games TV on Twitch. So humble channel, just trying to share my point of view. These aren't for whatever reason in terms of the football universe. We're not too boastful of a fan base, so it's assumed that there's not many of us out there, but we're out there. So I'm doing my little bit to represent, and I'm gonna do my part to try to provide content regularly.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good.
That's cool.
Thanks so much for having me on the show too.
Ade, we can find you here most times, can we?
Can always find me here running my mouth. That's what I do best. Whenever you invite me, I'm over here to run my mouth about City. I love City. Love City. Love everything about it. And I agree with Carl. I don't know if you want to see me live if we're not winning. It's not a pretty thing. So yeah. I'm not happy. It ruins my whole weekend.
You know what? I'm after hearing this, all I'm seeing is box office. All I'm seeing is box office, because when we're not winning, better Carl on the group, it makes me laugh. He had embedded wingers. Oh my god, he's not so busy. No, that's fine. So guys, that's all for tonight, guys. I hope you enjoyed the show. Please subscribe to the channels, Pitch Points. Veda's gaming channel. The link is gonna be below, and I'm gonna edit this and put the link below for Veda's channel. And pitch points, as always, is Carl, and Adi will always be here, as he says, running his mouth when it's about City. And for me, I'm from True City Fan. And guys, see you next time. Bye.
Yeah, take care. Bye. Enjoy.